This is Arvat McLean
And Dianna Wright.
of Speak, The Universe Listens. So today's topic is let go of the old to begin anew. Now this is actually a very appropriate topic for today because we have some sad but exciting news to share with you today. So would you like to share?
Well, it's with a very heavy heart, but I am moving on to some things that I have been procrastinating on and have had a little bit of fear-based. And though the best time is the beginning of the year, it's time for me to do those things. And I want to say to that and to our wonderful team that it has helped me in the past year. The things that we've discussed, all the things that I have learned and have grown together has propelled me to this point. I feel stronger, I feel more confident, and 2019 is my year into doing things that I had talked about or dreaming. You had introduced me to a program with the Toastmasters. I am moving forward with that. I'm moving forward with writing more to hopefully write my first book, and also getting involved with some organizations in regarding to suicide prevention as well as domestic abuse as well that has happened in my family, which I think will be a healing point, not just for myself but for my family and others that I want to get more involved in. And giving more of me, but giving more of me is also helping me to grow as well. And you, Arvat, have just been one of my heartbeats for many years, but with this process and with this podcast, it has been wonderful. And I'm trying not to tear up, but we're always going to be together.
Yes. So now I'm teary-eyed because I'm the biggest crybaby of all.
Sorry, guys.
And so yes, so Dianna will be leaving the podcast. This is her last episode with us, and we totally enjoyed spending the past year. And I'm not going to be able to say anything else about it because I am going to start crying. But I would like you to tell us or talk to us about what things led you to this decision, and how were you able, what did you have to consider and overcome in order to say, okay, I'm going to walk away from this, something that I love, but stepping into a new life?
Well, actually, I had to, over the past year, I had to really find Dianna. I had to really find that inner peace and that inner power within myself to know that anything that I put my mind to, anything that I want to do, I can accomplish. And that, in a sense, started here with all the things that we talked about and all the research and all of that. And it just built up inside of me. And realizing that the things that I had procrastinated on and the fear of being in a place where in a comfort zone but not stepping outside of that. And also through the years being experienced of being pushed outside of my comfort zone and realizing that I have more talents than I thought I had, and I'm loving it. And a part of loving myself is also a part of moving forward. And that's that piece. And I'm not saying that I'm not scared, because I am, but also where I am now, I'm not allowing that to control me. I'm controlling, what I want to do, and I'm putting the things in place. I don't know all the answers to everything. I don't know how things are going to turn out, but I don't need to know. I just need to move forward with it and know that everything is going to be okay, and that's what I'm putting out.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I think just that process, that is the process of stepping out of what's old and moving on to something new, especially if what's old is something that you love, or like you say, it could just be comfortable, something that's comfortable, but there's something in you that wants to do something else and move on, and just setting your sights and overcoming, not necessarily overcoming your fears because you're still afraid, but moving forward anyway. And Dianna actually made the decision to leave and to step into something new. But from my part, I'm thrust unexpectedly into something new. And then I have to go through the same process. And so when I'm probably going to cry, I might need a tissue, so y'all have one nearby. But when I first got the news, I was like, oh my God, like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I had a lot of fear associated with it because I'm like, man, what am I to do? And I was running scared. And at some point, I was just like, maybe this is my next. Like, I remember hearing a story about Nelson Mandela. Or I probably read it in a book or somewhere, but where he was like, thinking like, why am I in this cell? Like, I have things to do. And then somewhere along the way, he was like, maybe this is part of it. Like, me being here, maybe this is part of what I'm to do. This is a step along the way. And so I was thinking that, maybe this is part of it. I had started putting my desires out into the universe in terms of what I wanted the podcast to be. And doing the podcast with you, Dianna, is not that far out of my comfort zone. It's a little bit, but not that far, because I'm just talking to a friend. Going solo is putting me in a position where I have to do exactly what my fear is. And my fear is asking people to do anything. So I have to now go out and ask people to be guests on my show. And so that type of fear can almost paralyze me. But what I decided to do was just to walk through it, because I realized that on the other side of fear is always a reward. And so I'm just keeping my eye on the reward. And in the process, visualizing what it is that I want and knowing that that's what's going to show up.
And when we talk about the fear, this has been something that I have been thinking about. I'm like, no. And thinking about it, I'm like, no. And this has been years of actually thinking of wanting to do particular things. And I would just always tell myself, no. I will always put something else in that particular place. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with being right here with somebody else, or, working with somebody else. And everything, I've just been basically convicted everywhere and at every turn. There were signs, when I would meditate, and the times I would meditate, it would just be like, it's time for you to step out. And I know I've shared the story with you when I was traveling for Christmas. And I was headed to see my son in New Orleans, and I was hard-headed in some of the things that I did, because I decided to drive by myself, and I was supposed to stop along the way and get a hotel room. But no, I wanted to get to New Orleans, and I didn't. I didn't stop to get any rest, and didn't realize that I had fell asleep on the highway. And when I woke up, and it was only me and one other car on the highway, and I don't know what time it was. It may have been 4 o'clock in the morning at that particular time. When I woke up, my car was headed to the guardrail, and the car that was beside me was going off on the ramp. And there was no reason why I should have woke up, because I was really dead tired. And so I believed that it was nothing but God. I was supposed to wake up, and I did. And it was like I was outside of myself, because everything was slow. And I didn't jerk the wheel or anything. I just casually realized I had fell asleep, and I just, went on back in the other lane. And when it really hit me, I just burst out into tears, because I could have lost my life. And then that was even more of a sign that, I have other things that I need to be doing. I am supposed to be here. There is a purpose for my life. And that kind of even propelled me even more, that it's time. I'm 52. I'm proud to be 52. And moving forward, about to be 53. I'm excited about that, because my father passed at 52. So I'm moving past that, and it's time for me to come out of my shell even more. Not even thinking about how I'm going to do this, what am I going to do, because everything always falls into place. And that's where I am.
That is so wonderful.
And you, my darling, everything that you put your hands on and everything that you do is golden, and it just flourishes. So I have no doubt whatsoever, none, that everything is just going to be marvelous.
Yeah, I believe that. I'm excited. I didn't move from fear. I'm still afraid. But I'm more excited than afraid. And I just have this vision, and it's so beautiful. And I know that this is going to be good for me too. So I think that's the main thing I want to say is a lot of times we have things come up in our life, we have to let go, because in my case I was pushed out. In your case, you were able to make a decision to go out. But either way, it's oftentimes there's fear involved. But on the other side of the fear, it's just going to be so much, just beautiful, and just the whole experience of doing it and doing stuff outside of your comfort zone, learning and growing and changing. And also, like, I don't know how to communicate this appropriately, but a couple of weeks ago, I had come to the question of, am I ready to be uninvisible? Like, I basically spent my life trying to be invisible. And then I was faced with the question, am I ready to give that up? And Diana, the day that I say yes, I'm ready to give it up, is the day that you told me that you were leaving the podcast.
Are you serious? Okay. I just got goosebumps. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say. But, all things happen for a reason. And I believe it in my spirit. It's all good for the both of us.
Yes.
And I can't say it enough. I am in the place and in the space of where I am today, and being able to push myself forward because of what I have learned and how we have grown together in this podcast. So the things that we've talked about, your thought process and believing in yourself, and how we are connected to everything that is, that has built up inside of me to get me to this place where, okay, it's time for me to do this for me. It's time for me to step out there and put my foot in the water and just go. And not worry about what's going to happen, because I'm going to be okay. I always have been okay. Like what we had talked about in previous podcasts, everything that we have done, we've ended up being okay. We've been through worse. We've gotten through all of it. So what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. That's true.
And going out with love as well.
Yes. And so I just want to say I'm super excited for your journey.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what unfolds for you. I'm super excited for my journey. Yes. Can't wait to see what unfolds for me. I totally enjoyed doing this podcast with you.
So have I. Thank you for asking me. Because when you first asked me, I was like, no, a podcast? What's a podcast? Like, but okay. So if I could say, as easily as I did, okay, to you, I need to be able to say, okay for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, a few years back, I actually, walked across the hotbed of coals. And one of the things that we did was we just kept rehearsing the act of walking across the coals over and over and over in our minds. And the conference that we were in, gee whiz, I don't know how many hours. It was just like 3 days, like that, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. But we were in there for 16 hours a day. And I think we just got one break, like a lunch break or something.
Okay.
And but we might have had like a 15-minute break here or there. But it was just intense, and just every so often throughout the 16 hours, we would just envision the same thing over and over again, see ourselves walking across that bed of coals, and then we would just like celebrate, like, yeah, I did that thing or whatever. And so when it came time to walk across the coals, I already knew I could do it. Like, I mean, I'm not literally crazy, so I did have a little fear, right? But I was confident that I could do it. And it's kind of the same way with this, because I've just been practicing in my mind ever since. Like, seeing myself asking people, would you be on my show? And seeing myself doing these interviews and seeing myself doing things that I'm not going to tell you quite yet all that I'm seeing, but let's just say it's just amazing. It's amazing what's about to happen. And so I'm practicing it so many times that, when the time comes, which the time is now, but when the time comes, I'm going to be ready. I'm making myself ready.
And that's pretty much what I did, in the sense of, and even moving forward in regarding to seeing myself in a different place, seeing myself, being out there speaking and being out there helping so many people from my own experiences, everything that I have learned here, as well. You have been, I can't even, I just can't say enough in regards to the growth and the just wonderful feeling inside, because my spirit has grown. And that's the whole purpose of all of this. And for everyone that listens, to us, that we all have that power. And you sparked that, it was always in me, but for me to realize that, and I feel great about it. And my voice is trembling, but thank you. And again, there's no doubt, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to close out now, and but please make sure you click on the subscribe button right below if you haven't subscribed to the podcast as of yet. Until next time, this is Arvat.
This is Diana. Bye.